It is way too early for this. I'm tired. What's up, YouTube? It's your boy John from Project Ellsworth, and I am back with you today to show you guys another section of my horror movie collection. Let's do it. As always, I want to start off by saying that I hope you guys are doing well and staying safe. Alright, first up today, we have a double feature, a Vincent Price double feature. We have The House on Haunted Hill and The Last Man on Earth. I know that I've watched The Last Man on Earth. It's been a while, but I know I've watched it. I saw that not too long after the film I Am Legend came out, when I found out that that was based on Omega Man and The Last Man on Earth. I was a really big fan of I Am Legend. So I look back at that now and the CGI is, yeah. But after I saw that movie, I wanted to see the other two, so I got the Omega Man. Then that'll be on a future video, going alphabetically here. And I got The Last Man on Earth. So I know that I've seen that, and I'm pretty sure that I've seen the original House on Haunted Hill, but it has been a very long time since I've seen it. I think that might be like Saturday afternoon black and white viewing on my mom and dad's television sitting in their living room. That's how long it's been since I've seen it, but I've seen it. It's just been a while. Alright, next up is the remake of House on Haunted Hill. This one I know I have not seen. This is another one of those DVD stores going out of business. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that I've ever seen this movie at all. And obviously it's loosely based on that. So, I don't know whether I'll ever even get to this. I mean, chances are, but I don't know. Not too excited about that one. Then I have The Return to House on Haunted Hill. Well, you know what? If I'm ever going to get to this one, I guess I better watch that one. So this one I definitely also know that I have not seen. I don't know anything about this one. Gruesome and intense death scenes wrapped in a tense mystery. Jeffrey Combs channels pure evil. Alright, so Jeffrey Combs is in it. Yeah, I should probably watch this. One of these days maybe I'll have a House on Haunted Hill marathon. Knock them all out of the way. This one I actually recently bought. I've read really good things about this movie, and I was looking forward to getting it. It is The House That Jack Built. Matt Dillon in a horror movie. And this is supposed to be pretty brutal, too. One of the most thoughtful, honest, on-screen meditations on morality and personal culpability in quite some time. Boundary-pushing cinematic visionary Lars von Trier returns with one of his most daring, masterfully provocative works yet. In 5 audacious episodes, failed architect and arch sociopath Jack, portrayed by Matt Dillon, recounts the elaborately orchestrated murders. I'm sorry, folks. It is literally like 4:30 in the morning right now, so my eyes ain't awake yet. Each as he views them as a towering work of art that defined his career as a serial killer, mixing pitch black humor, transcendent surrealism, and renegade musings on everything from history to architecture to cinema itself. Von Trier fashions a radical, blazingly personal inquiry into violence, art, and the twin acts of creation and destruction. Uma Thurman, Riley Keough, and Bruno Ganz co-star. So yeah, I read that this was really good. I've seen it in a few magazines being mentioned, and I've seen a bunch of stuff on YouTube, people talking about that. I think YouTube is actually how I found out about this movie. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, and I would say I'll probably watch that one sooner rather than later. Here's another one that I've actually heard mixed things about through YouTube, other videos that people have created that I have also not seen. Pardon me. Howl. On a stormy night, passengers on the last train out of London begin to... Is that a werewolf movie based out of London? Heard that somewhere before. Out of London begin to panic after coming to a sudden halt. They soon realize there's something dangerous lurking in the forest, and it's stalking it's stalking the besieged train and picking them off one by one. So the only thing I can say from reading that right off the bat is, why in the world did they need to set this in London? Whatever. Alright, next up is an absolute classic. I did a review of this movie a while back. The Howling. Really cool movie with Dee Wallace. Dee Wallace is a reporter. You know what? I'm not going to give you the plot. If you haven't seen The Howling by now, watch The Howling. You really need to see it. For those of you other horror fans out there, I'm sure you've seen The Howling by now, and you know how good this movie is. I don't need to tell you about it. It's really good. Came out right around the same time as American Werewolf in London, if I'm not mistaken. Alright, and now here's the rest of the franchise that I have never watched any of. I got The Howling 2, The Howling 3, The Howling 4, The Howling 5, and The Howling 6. I have never watched any of these. I think that my wife bought these for me for Christmas one year, to be totally honest with you. I don't remember me personally buying any of these. I'm pretty sure that she bought these all together, wrapped them up, and gave them to me in one gift. Pretty cool gift. And eventually, I know that I am definitely planning to sit down and go through all of these, doing like a franchise review on it. But I've never seen any of those. I've never heard anybody talk about any of those at all. So yeah, I just have to assume that that's just 5 more werewolf movies. You know, one has to assume. Alright, next up is The Human Centipede. I know there's a lot of people who have some pretty vicious feelings about this franchise. I absolutely love The Human Centipede. It's brings ass to mouth to a whole new level. The Human Centipede. It's definitely out there, but it's actually a very well crafted film. It's a beautiful film. It's just the subject matter is kind of, it's something. It's different. I'll put it that way. Following that up is The Human Centipede 2. This one is definitely a tougher watch than the first one is. The first one is called First Sequence, right? Is that what this is called? First Sequence, yes. And that involves 3 people. The Human Centipede is called Full Sequence, and this involves, I don't know the exact number, but it's a lot of people. And then there is The Human Centipede 3, the Final Sequence, which involves a ridiculous amount of people, as you can see on the cover. It's this movie to me kind of it fell off the cliff. Pardon me. I thoroughly enjoyed the first 2 Human Centipede movies. This one honestly was kind of tough to get through. This one kind of pokes at what it is. It's way over the top. The guy who is the antagonist in the first movie is in the third movie as like a southern sheriff, and he is coming from way out in left field. This is way over the top, and he's actually the star of The Human Centipede 2. He's right there. So those 2 return as different characters, and they're very different, and they're very over the top. And this movie was difficult to get through, I'm not going to lie to you. The first 2 movies were fantastic. The third movie really didn't do anything for me. Next up is The Hunt. I also did a review of this movie on my channel. I thought this was really, really good. This was one of the last movies that I bought, one of the last new movies that I bought in 2020 before the whole world went to shit and fell apart. This is awesome. It is, I'm trying to think of how to put this without giving the story away. Clever, gory, often very funny. Let's just read it, John. How's that for an idea? Like I said, it's really early, folks. In this subversive satire, a group of elites gather for the very first time at a remote manor house to hunt ordinary Americans for sport. But the elite's master plan is about to be derailed because one of the hunted, Crystal, knows the hunter's game better than they do. She turns the tables on the killers, picking them off one by one as she makes her way toward the mysterious woman at the center of it all. This is the girl who is in, I don't know how many of you have actually seen the Netflix series Glow. It's based on the old Glow women's wrestling thing from the 80s. It's a really good show, side note. But she's really good on that show, and she's even better in The Hunt. It's an awesome movie. Next up is, I just talked about The Last Man on Earth. Here's I Am Legend, which is based on The Last Man on Earth and Omega Man. I really enjoyed this movie. I saw it in the movie theater. I loved everything about it. I've seen it several times throughout the years. It's very, very good. Will Smith is the last man on Earth, basically. Is not really, but you get the gist. The downfall of this movie is definitely the CGI. I'm not a big fan of CGI anyway, but when it's done well, it really looks good. It ain't done well in I Am Legend at all. Outside of that, it's a very good movie. Will Smith is brilliant in that movie. It's just that CGI is bad to the point that it's unforgivable. Pardon me. Next up is Takashi Miike's Ichi the Killer. I have seen this movie as well, but it has been a long time since I've watched it. This was on sale, I want to say at Best Buy, like dirt cheap. Within the last year, I'd say. So I didn't have it in my collection and I grabbed it. Takashi Miike's Ichi the Killer has endured as one of the most influential pieces of genre filmmaking of the last 2 decades. And now it returns in a stunning, all-new, digitally restored special edition approved by Miike himself. This visceral and bloody, oh my God, this visceral, bloody, and often hilarious film now I'm skipping lines. Often a hilarious film follows Catherine, or Kahira, a notoriously sadistic Yakuza enforcer whose search for his boss's killer brings him into the orbit of a demented, costumed assassin known as Ichi. I apologize for stammering over that. Lord. Maybe when I do videos at 4:30 in the morning, they shouldn't be the ones that require me to read a lot. Note to self. Ichi the Killer is really cool, really bloody, really violent, really cool J-horror movie. I love it. If you like J-horror, watch Ichi the Killer. It's a cool movie. Next up is a gift from Phil's Creepy Vids that I have not watched yet. Idle Hands. The devil will find work for idle hands to do, but what happens when he chooses the laziest teen slacker in the world to do his dirty work? I've heard from a lot of people this is really cool. Devon Sawa is in this movie. I just read an article about Devon Sawa returning to the horror genre in last month's Room Work. I think it was Room Work 197, if my memory serves me. So yeah, he's back in horror. He was in this. He was in Final Destination. There he is right there, really young. So one of these days I'm going to get to that too. I got a whole lot to get to, folks. Here's one that I know I watched when I bought it, and it was so bad that I don't even remember it. This is called I'll Kill You, I'll Bury You, I'll Spit on Your Grave Too. This is not even good enough for me to call B horror. I mean, this is like low quality, just terrible filmmaking here. The summer camp turns into a nightmare. While the partying leads to an erotic play for some, others are being stalked and attacked by a crazed killer. The sadist demands sex and distributes horror. This movie I remember being really bad. That's all, literally is all I remember about it. I remember the practical effects being terrible, the acting being terrible. I think my dog acts better. Just not a good movie at all. And I think I have 4 of those. I bought them all together off of eBay probably 20 years ago. And I could have spent my money on many other things. But that was when I was first really getting into eBay and finding anything horror that I could get my hands on. And those things were dirt cheap. I think I bought all 4 movies for like 20 bucks or less, 10 bucks maybe. But I remember them being dirt cheap, and that was why I bought them without knowing anything about them. That was before my mind started telling me to look up trailers before you buy things, and it's a whole thing. All right, I'm going to get out of here. I apologize for stammering all over that. It's terrible. I should not be reading things when my eyes ain't awake yet. All right, I'm going to get out of here. If you guys like this video, oh boy, please give me a thumbs up. If you really like this video and you've been enjoying my content up to this point, prior to this point, I should say, please do me a huge personal favor. Click that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Have a kick-ass day. And thank you for watching. I definitely need more of this.